Hello, everyone. To this subject, will the boomers strike back? What do I mean by that? Well, I mean pretty simple stuff. If you look around you these days, politically, financially speaking, who's in charge? It is the millennial? I don't think so. Is it the Xers? Gen X? Negative. Yes, some of them are pretty good and in charge at some spots, but they're just doing like the legwork for the boomers. The boomers. So they bought the stock market when it was literally starting. Um, they bought the real estate when it was worth a couple of banana peels. Okay. They have everything under control, politically speaking. They are everywhere, from the bottom to the top of the political hierarchy. They are in charge. Okay. Then they're in charge of our businesses too. And I'm not saying all the boomers, okay? Like, I know it's gonna sound like a lot of generalization what I'm saying right now. Well, I do realize that there's poor boomers. First, in the first world countries, there's definitely like a lot of boomers that suffer misery. They are poor. They don't have enough. They need to work until pretty much they die. And that's not like, once again, it's not a generational like fight that I'm trying to start here. Obviously, what I'm saying could be taken out of context. I do realize that, but I really implore everybody watching this content to understand that it's just a terminology to basically talk about a generation of people, a certain generation of people, and a certain state of mind that they do suffer from. That I'm using the word suffer on purpose. So the boomer, to get back a bit in history, they're that generation that was like born from the GIs and all the all the nations that were at war. Like when the soldiers got back home, they got married, they had some cash in their pocket, the economy needed to be rebuilt, the real estate needed to be rebuilt, the production means were basically either geared toward an economy of war, or they were destroyed depending on the country you were. So a lot of, and it's in all the countries, all the Western countries, even China, most countries in the world, like have that particular situation where the boomers are in charge. The boomers are leading the economy. They are leading the political sector, the administration. Oh my God! Oh my God! If you work in the administration, the amount of boomer that are between you and the top dog it's just staggering. As a young professional, I've met so many of my friends that tried to do a career in the public service as a professional. It is impossible. The boomer are keeping the gates closed. They're only promoting their friends, other boomers most of the time, and they are like really tight knit. They'll just use their network and promote people in the network. They have that mentality, most of them, and once again, that's a generalization, but most of them have that mentality. They will help their buddies, the people that show up at their barbecue, and the people that show up at their party, at their birthday party or whatever party they're doing. They're socialites. To really truly understand a boomer, so you need to go toward from the moment he was born to the moment he became an adult and up to today. What did they do? What is their history? The history of the boomers is basically deleting 5,000 years of Greco-Roman civilization. Let me explain that. So why I'm saying they destroyed that? We had a perfectly fine philosophy that was admitted. Even the leftists from the earliest 20th century, they never denied. Quite the opposite, actually. They were in strong alignment with the Greco-Roman philosophers and the people that follow them. Meaning, like, there is a certain sense of honor and duty and the nation, and those values were important. But the boomers, they didn't believe in that. They were young back then, and they decided, no, there is nothing that should be prohibited to me. I can do whatever I want. I have total freedom, and I want to exert it. So when they were young, when they were in their 20s, and it's not always the same boomers, obviously, but when they were in their 20s, they decided to go on and disrupt whatever was in front of them. It could have been a particular industry. We have a guy like Steve Jobs that created Apple. It could have been disruptions of the political and social status. Um, it could have been anything. Okay, so they have that habit. They grew into like disruption. They like to disrupt. And then now you're gonna ask me, well, now they're old. They don't want to disrupt. Yes, or for sure. Like there is that saying. I forgot who said that, and it's a friend of mine that used to say it to me all the time. It was like, if you're not a communist when you're 20, you don't have a heart, and if you're still a communist when you're 40, you don't have a brain. And that's exactly it. So when you're young, obviously you're rebellious. You want to go against the status quo, and that's normal. And when the boomers arrived, like that vast generation, they were like in the peak of their productivity. They were working, they were in charge of the economy already. What did they do? They disrupt everything. They decided it was time to like, let's start on a blank canvas. That's what they wanted to do. So, and they painted that society we live in right now, where there is the sexual liberation, and the the destruction of the value of wedding. Wedlock is not a thing anymore. People don't get married really that much. I mean, they still do, but it's mainly a social thing. It used to be a value. It used to be you meeting the one person you think you're gonna spend your life with and have kids with, and you think she'll be a great mother, and she'll be a great support for you at home, and you are like going ahead and developing that family and that dream, the American dream they were calling it. And it was not only in America. That dream was everywhere. Like in a lot of countries, people could access that dream, and it was carrying different names. No matter what, so they add that dreams and they build it. For that, we can be grateful. But in the same time, should we? Should be grateful of that dream. Before, there was some other status quo. Yes, there were less social mobility. Yes, there were some things that were not as good as now, but there were also less disparity between the richest and the poorest. Like the boomer created that meritocracy that doesn't exist, by the way, but they created a myth around that. So why am I talking in such an extent of the boomer? I really do think in that revolution that we're gonna go through, the AI, AGI revolution, the post-scarcity society, like I like to describe it, the biggest break to that, the biggest stopper, the showstopper that we're gonna face are the boomers. They're gonna be putting all brakes. So now that they're older and they are in charge, they're not conservative. They're reactionary. They see a new technology coming in. A conservative person would say, "Okay, let's see what's the benefit of that technology, and then maybe we adopt it." The boomer, at the age they're at, all they want is beyond conservatism. They want reactionary. They want to make sure nothing changes. What it means, why they're like this, why they don't want anything to change. Think about it. If you had a nice fat pension and tons of stocks and tons of real estate, maybe 3, 4, 5, 10 houses, maybe even more. Some of them are tycoon. Would you like anything to change? Obviously not. I'm describing something. The change that AGI will bring is nothing short of a revolution. Not a revolution in the sense that we're gonna need to go in the streets and like what the French did during the French Revolution. No, a revolution in the sense of the human spirit, in the sense of the freedom we're gonna enjoy, and the relationship to work and family, and the relationship to duty. All those things will be reinvented, and I think to a higher moral status and a moral standard. So why Why those boomers just for their pension? No, it's beyond that. Like at that point, they are afraid. They're gonna be afraid. They're gonna be afraid that they lose their power. They're gonna be afraid that they lose the wealth they built. It's a reaction. It's reactionary, literally. There's no better word to describe it. It's a reaction to something that could be potent to the way they built the world and their legacy. So it's huge. Like for me, that's what I have identified as the biggest threat to the potential evolution of mankind at that point. Um, so my hope, maybe I should not talk about my hope, but my hope is yes, they're probably gonna delay it. They're probably gonna fight back. But by doing so, my hope is that they never enjoy that world. Because I don't think like those people that will fight and claw their way to make sure that that world doesn't happen, they don't deserve the world that will happen. Because this world will happen, I can guarantee it to you. We're gonna live in a post-scarcity world. I see it with my own eyes. And I know from like the perspective, the world we're in now, it is hard to believe that I'm right. Like most people will say, yeah, I know, man, I have difficulty to put eggs in my fridge these days. I don't think we'll be like anytime soon in a post-scarcity environment. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you, brother. I feel you, sister. However, it's coming. It's coming. We're gonna have like big leap through in the sense that the Industrial Revolution in the early 18th century in England was driven by the capacity of pumping water out of those coal mines. And that coal became available for us to mine. And that coal fueled our societies, our machines, more steam engines, trains, electricity, everything started to like it was basically like a bubble, but in a good sense of the term. It was an explosion of energy. We're gonna live through a similar explosion, but this time instead of energy, it will be knowledge. And if you think about it, if you have the explosion of knowledge, if you have a true revolution, and you have those agents, those AI agents that do research around the clock and unlock everything that lock us in the way. You know, and not so long ago I was on a course, and the course was basically teaching us consensus approach for group discussions and nudges approach to resolve complex problem. And I was like, wow, that's fantastic. I want to learn how to resolve complex problems with little nudges. But you know what? Uh, Initially, I was never trained to resolve a problem with nudges. I was trained to resolve a problem with silver bullets. And that's what my brain is good at. I'm looking at the silver bullets and I want to like do a kill with it, okay? So that's what a silver bullet is in my mind. It's like as you see a system, it says an issue, and you want to fix the issue by killing the problem with one silver bullet. And that's what AI is going to do for us. Everywhere where there's a complex system, AI will come and resolve those issues. It will like shoot silver bullets every day, dozens, entire magazines of silver bullets, a Gatling gun loaded with silver bullets. That's what the world's gonna look like. We're gonna have such a rapid evolution. Every single day there will be a leap through. People won't even look at the news. They'll be like, yeah, of course today we resolve like, oh well, yeah, we fixed pancreatic cancer today. Like it's not an issue. If you get that, just go to the hospital and they have the treatment. AIDS, oh, that was fixed like not so long ago, but you know, and so on. It will be like every day. It will be like Christmas. Every day will be like Christmas. A new surprise, a new thing that we'll have invented. The research nowadays we have to go through clinical studies for decades. It takes forever to get a drug approved. With AI, it'll do studies on like agents at first, simulated bodies, whatever, and then we'll enter a clinical trial. It will be already safe. Like the people that will be trialed on, there'll be zero risk for them, or like the risk will be like 1 million of what it is these days, 1 on 1 million. So once again, I want to go back to that boomer problem. Like, do you think I'm right with that point? Like, do you think really that they will fight, they'll claw out of the progress, they will try to bring us back? And how they're gonna do it? I want to hear your ideas about that. But how they're gonna do it? I do personally have ideas. They're in charge, aren't they? I mean, yes, there's some young leaders here and right and center. We had Trudeau in Canada. In France, they have Macron. Well, the others, if I look around, it's all gray hairs. It's all a bunch of like 60 years old in charge. You know what I mean? So, what they can do to prevent. So I don't think they're gonna try to prevent the technology to evolve, because they realize that there is huge profit that can be made. What they're gonna want to do is keep control. Keep control by delaying the leap in political science. Keep control by keeping the technology proprietary, meaning that you won't be able to have your own AI. It will be only locked for like big businesses that they will keep control on by buying stocks and positions into their in those businesses. And the legal context also, they will do everything they can to make it like almost like a terrorist act to have your own AI. So they'll say like AI is a technology just like nuclear. You know, they will say like it's not for civilians. Okay, you cannot have your own AI server. The community, forget about it. Even if you're like 100,000 people, like in a nice little town, and you say we want to develop our own AI technology, our own servers to be independent, there'll be no, you can't. And you'll be, why? They'll say it's because we're boomers. No, they won't say that. But they'll be like, it's too dangerous. What if your AI go wrong and start shutting down your power grid? And like they'll use AI, like they'll use boomer thinking to stop the AI progress. That's what they're gonna do. Like boomer thinking, I mean, it's hard to really put in perspective if you're not a boomer. You really like to have boomer thinking. You need to you need to go through life like a boomer. And once again, not a generalization. There's obviously a lot of people in that generation that are not like this. Once again, disclaimer. But the true boomer is like akin to a Karen. You know, a Karen. I'm entitled. I'm entitled to the parking space. I'm entitled to this. I'm entitled. You know a fucking Karen? Excuse my French. A Karen that is like always mad, always pissed off, and it wants to break everything. Break in the sense to destroy. That's literally what you see a Karen. And some boomers, the most vile of them, are like this. And that's why when you met a boomer, when you have to face a boomer, okay, despite the fact that he's weak, despite the fact that he's old and crunchy, he still believe is gonna kill you, because that's his mentality as a boomer. They are like bloodlusty little creatures. That's what they are. Have you noticed most of them are not that tall? If you see a tall boomer, usually he's a nice guy. Okay. If you see a small boomer, usually he's a prick. So simple enough. As a conclusion, just be aware of that in your life, that we're facing difficult times, and the one in charge, they will keep everything tight. Our biggest hope is that either they're gone before all that starts, okay, or either we're stronger than they are. And to be honest, I've seen many times where a younger generation revolted and tried to break the status quo. We had it in Canada with the trucker movement, you know, the trucker for freedom. In France, they had the yellow vest. In China, they had the Tiananmen Square that was like repressed in blood in the early 90s. So what was the Tiananmen Square massacre was basically the Gen X saying to the boomers who were in charge in China, we're done. We're done with that. We're done with your ideas. And we want true freedom. And well, sadly, it didn't go that way. Okay, everybody knows which way it went. And I'm just hoping, truly hoping, that as a species, we'll be able to resolve our own conflicts before we jump into a world with AI, with AGI. I see a lot of videos these days on YouTube that says, "Yep, no, like AGI won't happen. It's a myth. It's, you know what? They may be right." But also, what I'm thinking when I see that, it is typical boomer strategy. When you have a dream, any kind of dream, the boomer had tons of dreams. The boomers, they had all the dreams. They dreamed for everybody. They dreamed for generations. They wanted everything offered to them on their lap. But when it's time for you to be ambitious as they were, they call you a dreamer. They say, no, it's a dream, cannot be achieved. It's like you're stupid to think that way. Don't pour your resource into that. You're gonna destroy yourself. That's the narrative they're trying to sell us. They're selling us AI is a bubble. We're investing way too much in it for no reasons. And all the investment's gonna be scattered. It's gonna be like wasted. Okay? That's their narrative. There is a lot of them saying that right now. And I'm not saying they're all boomers. Some of them may be from my generation. But it's the boomer narrative. That's them trying to sell us that. And in the meantime, do you know what they do? They pile up on stocks. They pile up on S&P. They pile up on NASDAQ. They pile up on Dow Jones. Like all the American index. They make sure to secure as many shares of that as they can because they know we're heading to a huge bull market. And sorry, this is not like a financial advice. That's not me doing a prediction on the future of the stock market. You're always exposing yourself to risks when you invest, and no matter what investment. Okay, end of the disclaimer. But yes, I do believe that like there's still an opportunity to turn the tide. The boomer are going to start selling their stocks soon enough. Their older stocks and their investments in real estate, because they will realize, despite whatever they're telling you, no, it's a bubble, no this, no that, it won't happen. They know it will. Okay, and they're positioning themselves to be at the first spot and to stay in charge, to keep the power. So I realized it was quite a long video, had a lot to say. If you're still here, please subscribe. Please activate the ring, the little whatever, the bell. Activate everything. Everything you can activate it. Leave a comment, a thumbs up, whatever. Okay. Really appreciate your time and you watching this video means a lot to me. Okay. I wish you a pleasant day. And if there is a subject you would like me to cover, don't hesitate to leave it in the comments. Okay. I want to hear about you and what you're thinking about all that. Peace.